Hi everyone, welcome back to No Sugar with Everything Krause. Welcome back, Suganistas.
Welcome.
Welcome back.
I literally didn't know what other jig to sing. Welcome
Jingle
back,
jangle.
Suganistas, to the show. You're gonna learn a lot today from us. That's hideous. What is that? What are you drinking?
Coffee.
Out of that?
I have a giant Yeti cup filled with coffee today because I bought the iced coffee or the cold brew is it cold brew from Trader Joe's?
Yeah, it's cold brew.
Okay.
Wait, no, I literally don't think it is.
No, I think it is.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, I bought that from Trader Joe's because it's supposed to be super warm this week. So I was like, I don't want a cappuccino. And I was making it today and I literally weighed out the correct amount. I went over by 0.8. Anyway, and I just had it in this cup, but then I was frothing the milk and I found this technique with the little hand frother. As I was raising it up, the milk was literally coming with it. I was frothing it so good. So the more I was lifting it, it got so frothy. So the whole canister was filled with milk and I had this much room for milk in my other cup.
Yeah.
So I just was okay, I need to find a bigger cup. And I found this handy dandy Yeti that mom got from someone at work. And it's now...
Cheers to that.
It's just hilarious, the fact that I still look like I have so much and I'm used to a cappuccino.
Yeah, I know. It's making me laugh because oftentimes when I make the cold brew at home, I feel like I never have the proper cup. So I'm putting in all this ice and then the cold brew and then I put in the milk. It's just I always make it bad at home when I'm using the cold brew for some reason. It's our to-go coffees when we made that. When we were going to Falmouth, we made that to-go coffee and it was terrible. Terrible. So I'm that's what I'm thinking of when I see that big cup is is that just a big cup of terrible coffee?
No, it's actually good. And I think when we froth the maple syrup with the milk prior to putting it in,
True.
flavoring the milk first, it works.
True.
For some reason, if you do the maple syrup first, even if all the mixing that you do, I just don't taste it. And then I'm okay, well, I'm not going to put in more maple syrup that I'm not going to taste.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it, but it is weird to still have so much coffee left here. But
Another call out before we get started. Everyone go join the YouTube because I'm showing something crazy.
Her eyebrow.
I'm showing you my eyebrow because if you're watching on YouTube, you see that little divot.
Now who has the signature eyebrow?
This is your sign to never pluck your own eyebrows because I was doing super successful down here.
Dasha would be so mad at you.
Yeah, if I was doing really good down here and then I did one pluck right here and bam, hole in the eyebrow. You never know where a hair can lead.
She is really getting up close to the camera right now. The mic is to the side of her face and she is fully showing you her
You just
eyebrow.
never know where a hair can lead to, especially an eyebrow hair.
Yeah, I know.
So, this eyebrow is not done.
I'm very careful when I pluck these days because that's happened to me a number of times, and I'll only pluck super obvious strays. Because if I start getting close up to a mirror and really start seeing the other ones I could pluck, I'll go crazy, and that's when I know I gotta book an appointment with Dasha.
Yeah, I should have booked. Dasha, I'm coming for you.
I know.
Anywho, I needed to flag that if you're looking at my Charlie Puth eyebrow.
Oh my god, facts. Listen, if he can rock it, you can rock it. And he's the name on everyone's lips because we declared Charlie Puth should be a bigger artist.
I disagree with that statement, yeah.
Well, some people think that, is that a high statement and not, is it a joking statement? Because...
Were they ever a thing?
No, but whoever the song is about, it was after he smoked and ate 7 bars of chocolate.
Oh.
I gotta stop.
I see what you're saying.
Literally,
Taylor
I take my
consumes your
phone
mind.
I take my phone into the shower with me so I can play the album.
Do you? Shit, I must have to listen.
I am soaking my phone every shower.
Just for T-Swizz.
Sometimes I'll listen to a podcast, but ever since the album
That's
came
crazy. In the shower? Enjoy like the 15 minutes you have in there.
I don't know what has gotten into me with bringing my phone in, but I have like these two little ledges. So, you know, like the little ledges I have. And I just like one day realized that like my phone kind of sits there perfectly. But now with the Julie shower head, I recently switched it out. The water, like when it hits me, kind of like sprays a little bit more than my other shower head did. And
so it's time to take the phone out.
It splashes my phone. I like take my phone out of the shower and like wipe it down with a towel.
You're crazy for that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
going to stop doing that. I say that, but I wish I could just leave my phone right outside the shower, but like the shower door really muffles the words.
Yeah. I wish you could just take a shower in silence.
Yeah, I should start doing that
like
again.
A normal person. Although I guess people play music. I'm such a silent shower.
Yeah, no, I think I should start doing it though, because sometimes I think too much dopamine of like music, podcasts, like too much stimulation isn't good, and you kind of need a detox from that every once in a while. So the shower used to be my detox from like noises, but now it's like get in the shower, play music, play podcast, get in the car, play music, play podcast, and it's like, am I ever just with my own thoughts?
No.
Wow, that's deep. It's been like, no, it's been a little bit with the phone in the shower.
If you see me getting close to the camera, I'm like,
what's wrong?
Yeah, I'm kind of going through something on the other end here.
Are you down bad again?
When I say I'm going through something on the other end, I mean I'm literally a wave of hunger just came over me.
Oh no.
No, Kateri, I literally just got so nauseous when you were speaking. I was like actually about to faint. I felt like I was so hungry.
Oh, that's the worst. All right, let's get into today's episode so Isabel can eat for real. So let's get into today's episode so Isabel can go and make some food. This is classic Isabel, like not eating until way later. I can't relate. Another thing I have to address really quick before we get into the episode, when people say, oh, I didn't have time to eat today, oh, I forgot to eat, there isn't a statement that I could relate to less. Like, I'm serious. I am not one of those people. If I know I have a busy day or like I'm traveling or I'm bopping around, like meat stick RX bar on deck.
I know.
Like I'm not.
I think about the food.
Yeah, no, I'm not one of those people. It's like, oh, I was too busy to eat today. It's like, oh, I'll find time.
God forbid we let a day go by where we miss 3 meals.
But listen, if I do not eat my proper meals, I'm crazy at night. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like care as much, also because like I love food. But yesterday, for example, I didn't eat enough protein. When it got to like sitting on the couch watching TV with mom, I was ravenous. I could have eaten a horse and it wouldn't have satisfied me. And I was like, it's because I didn't eat enough protein today and like strategic meals almost.
Yeah.
And I was mad.
Well, that's literally what happens. That's like why binge eating becomes a disorder, because it's like you literally don't eat all day and then you get home and you're like ravenous. So you literally feel like you can binge eat all this food because you didn't eat all day.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh my God, I just ate so much in literally one fell swoop. So this is a reminder to eat your meals. Eat your protein.
I don't need that reminder.
Yeah, neither do I. Anyway, today we want to talk about kind of going out in a sense. I think we're both obviously in our 20s and I'm at a different stage of life than Isabel is. Isabel's still in school, so it relates to her in a different way, and I think it probably relates to our listeners in a different way than it relates to me. But as well as you get ready to graduate and your friends do, I feel like it's important to talk about, but almost talking about the balance that I'm trying to figure out with it as well. I have mentioned this before, but in college, I was definitely like a party animal. Like my friends, we were always going out. It was just the setting. You know, I went to a big state school and it was fun to go out in our town. It was fun to drink, go out on the weekends, just like what you did. And then when I graduated, I feel like I finally realized that that is not the lifestyle for me anymore. It was fun for the 4 years and I am so over it. But now it's hard to, like, what else is there to do at our age than go out? Like, oh, I want to hang out with more, like my college friends more, or, you know, go out in the city with people. And it's like, okay, well, what are they doing? They're going out to bars on the weekend. And I don't want to do that every weekend. I really don't. And I don't want to have to do that to hang out with people. Like, it kind of sucks. You know what I mean? I feel like that's like your option. It's like, oh, what else is there to do? Well, should we go out? No, I don't want to.
Like, I don't want to do that.
It's just not my vibe anymore. So I don't know. I'm like kind of struggling in that sense, I guess.
It's hard because even hearing that, like, my first thing that I think of is like, I wish there is other things that you could be doing with friends, but it's hard because they may not share the same interests. Like, I think of you and I get here and I'm like, well, what do we do when we're together? We're like, oh, let's go on a walk. Like, it's so fun, but like, it's not like you're gonna text your college group chat and be like, everyone, let's like go on a walk. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard because when it gets to the point of like hanging out, especially reconnecting with old friends, it's like the point is going out, because you may not all have similar hobbies. So that's where it really gets difficult, because if it's not your best friend who's obviously going to be aligned with you and not want to go out either and spend the night in and watch a movie, that's great. But what do you do when it comes to the situation of like friends that aren't your best friend but like are still really good friends with you? Know, I don't know what I'm trying to say right now.
No, that's a good
Does
point.
that make
Of, like,
sense?
yeah, like wanting to catch up even to, it's like, oh, let's catch up, like let's go out to dinner, and then there's drinking involved, and you know, you can choose not to drink as well, but I just think it all kind of has this, it's all centered around doing something, like eating out, drinking, going out, meeting up. It's like there's never talk, I feel like, about like, oh, meeting up with an old friend, let's go on a long walk. And like there's certain friends I could do that with, and I know for sure, but and I have done with, but it's like it's not the common thing to do. And then you kind of, at least I do, is feel like guilty for not being this 24-year-old girl who is going out on the weekends and enjoying her 20s. But I'm like, if I have to sit back and ask myself, well, what would I have to do, or what would I do on the weekend that's going to make me feel good? Like going out with friends to a bar is not one of those things. Hanging out with friends, sure, but in that setting, it's like not for me.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I don't know. That's why I'm sorry, I'd like to cut you off, but like that's why I struggle, because it's like I'll beat myself up about not doing it, but then if I really ask myself what I want to do, like that's not what I want to do.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's hard because that's society's pressure on you. It's hard to not let society kind of influence you, and you feel that as a 24-year-old, you should be going out and having fun. Like, these are your 20s. These are the best years of your life before you have kids. Like, that's what everyone says. And for some reason, society kind of paints a way that you should live your 20s, and that's getting like drunk on the weekends and going out to have like while you can. And I understand that some people want to do that, but you don't. And I think it really comes down to the fact of just like every time you feel like, oh, like I'm 24 years old, like I should be doing that, coming back to your center and being like, what do I want to do? Like, is that something I even would want to do? And then when you realize no, it's like, okay, like I'm not the same as every other 24-year-old then, you know, like it's just different, but society makes us feel so bad for it. I know I struggle with that. Like in college right now, just to relate to you, Katir, is, you know, it's my last term of college and I have so much pressure on myself, I feel like, because I'm like, oh, like I need to take in the last term. Like this is the last time not that I won't have responsibility. Like, I don't know. I never understood that because like to me, I've always been taking on responsibility, but this is my last time in a college setting where like I don't have to have responsibility and can be going out and having fun. And I want to make these memories and have the best time before I leave, because obviously, of course, when I do go out, sometimes I do have a great time, you know, like that's natural. So I'm trying to find a balance, because every time that people are like, oh, we're going out, I'm like, oh, I want to push myself and go out because I only have 4 weekends left of college. But then I'm like, I literally don't want to spend my weekend like this though. Like I hate it. So I totally relate to that pressure of like, well, what do I do? And it's when it comes down to it, I know the answer is like, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Particularly because another thing going off of this is the reason I don't like going out is because when I spend my time on the weekends, I'm a really big quality time person. Like I love deep, meaningful conversations. I hate surface level. Like everyone knows that about me. I hate engaging in surface level conversations. And when you go to a bar, that's all you're going to get. When you go out to dinner, like that's kind of all you're really going to get when it's a big group. If you're one-on-one, of course, it's a bit different, but that's where I also struggle, because I'm like, well, you know, I want to spend my weekend having a good conversation with my best friend tonight. I'd rather stay in and watch a movie with her and like get deep and talk than go out to a bar with 15 other girls where now we're not even talking at all.
Exactly. And
sorry, that was a bit of a ramble. Just
no,
a
but
lot of thoughts going on.
It's a lot harder in college too. Like you know, like I said, when I was in college, I was all for going out too. There was definitely nights when like I didn't feel like it, but I still did. And there was rare times when I said no. So I imagine it's very hard, you know, as a college student, being around people. It's like that's what they do. You know, I live at home right now, so I'm almost removed from the scene. Like I don't live in a city. I don't live around a bunch of people who are my age. So it's very easy to be removed from that lifestyle, but you are fully in it.
Yeah.
And, I do think some of this comes down to, as you were all talking, and this is like no hate on literally anyone, like anyone that you might go out with, anyone that I would, but I do feel like it comes down to the people that you are going out with too. It's like, and I know we always talk about them, but this is why we did a whole podcast episode on our siblings. But if you were to say to me, Kateri, all of us, like all the Krause kids, their significant others, like we're all going to go out, I would be like, yes, let's do that. That is so fun. I can't wait.
Yeah.
But if you were to put me in a situation where it was like me and maybe like a couple people I know and some other of their friends who I don't know yet, like I'm not dying to do that.
Yeah.
And it's probably just because I don't know if I align with those people yet, or maybe the people that invited me I don't fully align with. And like we can't have, like you said, deeper conversations, or I can't talk to them about like health and fitness and leveling up in life and, what business venture they're working on, or just how they're trying to get better as a person. I'm not saying that everyone has to be like that, but those are people I enjoy being around. People that, when I have a conversation with them, it sparks me to want to go home and like put my head down and grind a little bit because they got ideas flowing in my mind.
Yeah.
And the people who tend to like go out every weekend are not those people. And that's all right, but it just goes to show you, I do think who you surround yourself with plays an impact in that as well. Because if an awesome group of people who I love are going out, like I'm gonna want to do it too. For when I went on all the bachelorettes I've been on, like it's easy to want to go out because I'm with people that I enjoy being around.
Yeah. Well, that's
now not so much, and that comes with like meeting friends in my 20s as well after college that I fully align with, which is a whole another freaking topic.
It's difficult because I don't feel that we're extreme. I just feel that the beliefs that we have, like the set of our beliefs, I feel like they align. Like everything that we believe, I feel like, oh, okay, like you don't do this, that makes sense to not do. You know what I mean? I feel like they're all like on a string. Like they all relate in some way, our set of beliefs. So like when I meet someone who does align, I'm like, okay, you probably align in all of those areas. But it's just even meeting someone who's kind of on that same wave, because it is, I don't know, it takes a lot of work, I feel like, for the life that we try to live, like the interest in food and the care, like caring about alcohol. Like it's a lot of self-discipline, it's a lot of self-love. And I'm not saying that that's not common, but I don't think most people our age are maybe even aware of that self-discipline and self-love, and like aren't in that chapter of their lives yet. I'm sure they will be maybe when they're 28, but like right now we're 24 looking for friends. So it's like so complicated when you don't find anyone that doesn't really align with you. That's also a really big struggle, is like there's someone that I meet these days that I like hit it off with right away. I'm like, wow, you're rare.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's so special, because like truly the siblings are really, I mean, there's other people in my life, of course, that I align with, but the siblings are like obviously the most matched up with me. It's ridiculous. Sorry, that was a big tangent.
That for some reason just sparked this in memory in my mind. I think it was like 2 years ago, I was doing dry January, so obviously I wasn't drinking all of January. And honestly, that's like kind of easy for me. Like I said, I don't go out a lot, so it's not like as much of a challenge. Anyway, I was at someone's house. It wasn't like a party, but I think there was like a Eagles game on, whatever, and I wasn't drinking. And they said to me like, okay, well, if you're not drinking, like you better be working out 6 days a week. And I was like, well, first of all, I do. Thank you very much. But I was like, what does that have to do with my choice of not drinking? Like, would I have to be this like crazy health person and not want to drink? And I think most people who don't drink for just choice reasons and not like, abusing alcohol and kind of like having to stop. But if you just like make the choice of doing it for your own personal health, I feel like those people are aligned with like working out and like wanting to level up in life and doing things that actually are good for them. But anyway, it was just like a funny comment to me, because I was like, this is one of those reasons that when I'm around people and maybe like I'm not drinking as much, or like I'm done drinking for the night, so I keep saying no to drinks, and they question like why. And I'm like, what is the point of me being out with you? Like, I don't feel like I need to explain myself to this like random person or someone who's not going to hear what I'm going to say. No. Like whatever I answer to you is going to go in one ear and out the other. And I don't care what you think of me in that situation, but is it worth my time and energy to like actually give you a response?
Well, and like to even be surrounded by that, like why do you, because like yes, we're very mentally strong, but like a comment like that is gonna probably like get a bit under your skin. Like yes, we take a step back and we don't eventually allow it to like deteriorate us or affect us, but like the initial comment, you're kind of like, oh, like I didn't want to hear that on my Friday night. Like
It was just like a weird
suck.
comment, you know, and that was like 2 years ago, but like clearly I still remember it and I haven't thought about it until this moment, but it was just like when you said it, I'm like, that's another thing of people aligning with you. Like, you know, I was at someone's house, so there was a lot of random people there that I didn't even know, but it's one of those things that it's like you feel a level of judgment from people who are doing something that's unhealthy for them. And sorry, there's like a big trash truck driving by right now, so I don't know if anyone could hear that. I've seen this like quote on Instagram where it talks about like alcohol is one of the only drugs that people judge you for not using. And I think when you think of it like that, like alcohol is a drug. It's kind of an escape, and people will question like, why aren't you doing that? And that's kind of wild. Like that was one of those situations where someone questioned like, well, why aren't you? Well, then you better be working out.
Yeah.
Because like you can't have both, basically. Or, you know, and it's honestly crazy that is the sad truth. Like people do question like, well, why aren't you going out more? Why aren't you drinking more? What do you mean you don't like to go on the weekends? Like, what do you do on the weekends then? It's like, oh God, like
it's like, God forbid people don't open their eyes to understand that like, wow, there's a whole world out there of people living different lives. Like people may not love to do what you love to do, and it's not a knock on those people, because my favorite type of people are the ones that I do go out with when I'm not drinking and like don't even question, or like, you do you, you're still gonna have a fun time, like as long as you're not bringing down my night, I'm gonna do me. Like those are my favorite type of people. So like that's
Exactly.
I'm not knocking the people who do drink, but I completely agree with you on like, it's so funny to hear these backhanded comments from people who are taking part in something that they probably know is unhealthy, and like wish that they could have the self-discipline that we had. Like, to be completely honest, that comes off so rude, but like that's kind of what I tell myself, to not let it get under my skin. You kind of have to say something maybe that harsh. It's so funny.
Yeah, like if someone's kind of judging you or like coming at you with a sense of attack, it's like, okay, well, they're probably insecure on their own part.
Yeah, like that's just what I go to.
Yeah, I can't control what they're insecure about, and I can't control what I may trigger in them just by being me.
You kind of sparked a whole thought in my head, because talking about this episode now, I feel like I've grown so much in this topic and my thoughts on it, because I literally would call Kateri pretty much every Sunday after the weekend. I'll never forget sophomore year, and still to this day it still happens, but I just don't let it affect me like how I did sophomore year, which is such a testament of growth. It's so awesome to see that. But I would literally call Kateri and be like, this is why I don't go out. Like, I got a million questions this weekend. Where have you been? Why haven't I seen you in so long? Like, oh, you're not drinking? Like, you're not... Literally, I'll never forget this comment. This is the one that... This actually happened this year. I was in a frat. I was sitting on their couch, and I was not drinking, and I was at an event that I had to be at. And this kid looked at me and told me that I was going to regret all of my college years because I am not having enough fun. And I looked at him and I was like, I literally like snapped back at him and I was like, dude, what the, like, I didn't say that. I'm just saying, like, I won't say, I don't even remember what I said.
I would have been like, at least I'm remembering my years.
I literally was just like, that was the craziest comment I've ever heard. You actually just told me that I'm not having fun. I'm ruining my senior year of college by not doing what you're doing. And I'm like, listen to you say that comment. I'm like, that's so crazy that he literally said that to me. Yeah, like, I was taken aback. I like looked at him and like, I'm pretty sure I like visibly like made him feel uncomfortable, because I was like, that was the weirdest thing you've ever just said to someone. Like,
that is so insane that someone would make that assumption about someone else's life too.
I know, but those are the types of comments that kind of can get in your head, and you're like, that is a thought I have. I'm like, should I be having more fun? And it's like, I am too mentally strong to let him get me down, because like, I don't care what that kid thinks, but it sparks a thought in my head of like, maybe I should be having more fun. Maybe I should be trying to be more crazy, because this is the only time in my life where I can be crazy. And I always come back to the realization of like what you initially said, Kateri. It's who you surround yourself with that can make it fun, because there's times that I have fun when drinking. Like, I had a blast at our dinner in Falmouth drinking wine together, and like, that's just an example.
While drinking, we had literally a glass.
But I'm saying, like, normally I don't even get to the point of wanting a glass, but the environment that we were in and the conversation that we were having, I was like, oh, I would love a glass of wine right now.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm anti-alcohol, it's not that I'm anti-fun, it's just who you surround yourself with.
And And like picking and choosing those moments too of like, well, what's worth it? Like, I've been going to a lot of wedding stuff recently. So like a bridal shower on a Sunday afternoon is not an event that I'm going to pick up a glass of wine at or like champagne. And no judgment to people that do it, but it's just little moments like that that are going to set me apart from other people. And I always see like super successful people, as well. I think I sent this reel in our sibling group chat.
Oh, I already know what it is.
And it's like super successful. It happens to all be men. I don't think it needs to all be men, but they're talking about how like the top is lonely. And I think when you hear like, okay, the top is lonely, it doesn't really process in your mind until you're like going through the process of trying to like be a better person, be a better businesswoman, grow a business, make money, like kind of just level up your life, which is always what we talk about. And these men were talking about like how that journey is super lonely, and it can be sad, but like it's not for the faint of heart. Like not everyone is going to do it, and not everyone's going to be at the top. And that's why people get so worried about like, oh, am I lonely? Do I not hang out with people enough? Do I not see enough people? Do I not have enough friends? And I'm not saying to never have any friends, but you have to recognize that when you are going or you're on the journey to where you want to be, and you're in that process of like working hard, working on yourself, it will be lonely. And sometimes that means saying no to going out on a Friday or Saturday night because it doesn't align with you. But ultimately, that Sunday, you're going to feel way better than those people, and you're going to be able to go on a walk, maybe do a workout, eat healthy, go to bed early that night. Like you're set up your week for success. There's little things that'll set you apart, and over time, those little steps lead to big movements. And I think that's what's so important to remind yourself of. At least like that's what I'm trying to remind myself of recently, is that like the journey that I'm on will be lonely, and the circle I have right now is perfect for me. I don't need to expand it unless other people come in my life and I meet someone that like aligns with me. Great, but I'm not going to go out there soul searching for another individual to align with so I can go out with on the weekends. Like that's just not what I'm going to do, and I'm going to appreciate the process that I'm in right now.
I think it's the price that you pay for peace, that loneliness feeling. It's like, would I rather be lonely and on the journey that I'm on, or have a ton of friends and not be who I truly am at my
like
core?
Sunday scaries every week.
Because I would not be happy with Sunday scaries. Like how I'm wired, the life that I want to live, the goals I want to achieve, I need to take this path that we're on. And there's a reason it's lonely. You know, if it were easy, everyone would do it. And Alex Hormozy, I'm such a fan of Alex Hormozy. I think he's such a wise guy.
Yeah, he
and
is.
One of my favorite reels by him is he's talking about like if it's easy, everyone would do it. And he said it's easy to get caught up in the fact that like you're not doing what everyone else is doing, but like take that as a sign. If you're doing what everyone else is doing, like you're never going to be different from them. The only way to achieve what you want and to be set apart and be the 1% is by not doing what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
And that's so logical, and I feel like we often forget that, and like I hear that and I'm like, yeah, duh. But it's like, okay, I do want to be that 1%. I do want to be the top in my health, the top in my beauty, like everything, the top businesswoman. Like I want to be the top in everything. That's how we're wired. I want to fulfill my highest potential. And in order to do that, it's going to be a lonely path. And once I recognize that, I become okay with the loneliness. I feel like I started viewing it as not loneliness, almost as just like peace.
Yeah,
because
like
I'm like, oh, like I'm feeling a lot more peace with where I am. If I were not in this position, I think I would be more disturbed. And I'd rather have loneliness than that feeling of not being my true self.
And when you're not aligned with doing what you want to do, like you will feel that inside. You'll feel like more anxious, more turmoil, all of that, just like day in and day out, if you're not aligning and doing what you want to do. And like you kind of said, if you want to be different, you got to move differently. And that's just how it is. Like that's the obvious kind of answer there. If you want to be different, you have to do different things. And some people don't want to do that, and that's all right. That's why our world works this way.
Yeah, it's why there literally is a 1%. Is like it, you know, I don't knock it. Some people don't want the life I have, so I'm completely okay that that's why I get kind of annoyed at the comments, actually, because I'm like, I don't want the life that you have, and it's okay that you don't want my life. It's okay that you want to drink on your weekends and have the fun college experience, because if that's what you want to have memories on, like that's okay. That's your path. That's not my path. So like stop knocking me for it. That's why I get so annoyed. And I don't really even get annoyed. Like, I feel like I'm making this sound like it takes up a lot of mental space, but I am talking
It
about
only
it
is
because,
right now because we're talking about it.
yeah, because we're talking about it. And there was a time in my life when I did take up a lot of mental space. Like my sophomore year of college, and I literally called you, like I said, every Sunday and told Kateri how these people made me feel like shit about my choices. And now I'm just at the point where I'm so at peace with who I am, and so like, no, I'm dope. This is exactly who I want to be. I have that level of self-love that I'm just like, I don't care that I'm different. It's actually like the thing that boosts my confidence the most is that I'm so different. Like I feel like I would feel so upset and so unhappy if I related to everyone.
I know. Like, but that just goes to say to like anyone listening, no matter what kind of lifestyle you live, no matter what choices that you make, also just like respect where everyone else is. Like Isabel said, like she's not going to these parties and like judging everyone there for wanting to be there or for doing that every weekend. It's like, if I can respect your lifestyle choices, why can't you just respect mine and move on? Like, we are different human beings. We're going to have different viewpoints, different lives. Everything is going to be different about us, and that's perfectly fine. And that's kind of how I want it to be. So just respecting where everyone is. And I've learned that a lot too, of like, I'm not going to judge any of my friends, anyone who I know that goes out, anyone who wants to do different things than me. Like, that's perfectly okay. You live your life to how you want to live it. At the end of the day, I truly am like the type of person that's like, I just want everyone to be living their life that they want to live. Like, if you're not doing what you truly want to do, like, change how you live. That's
exactly. I'm laughing because I feel like the point of this episode was to really talk about how I feel like the point of this episode was to talk about how it is so complicated, like being in our 20s and like being in this battle of like, do we want to go out and do we not? And I feel like we started this episode talking about that battle, and then we quickly came to the realization that it's like,
it's trash day.
Just give it a pause. Recyclables, all those MV bottles.
Not even, because you can't get it near us.
Yeah, actually true. The mineral water. But I feel like we came to the realization in this episode that like, it's not a battle. We shouldn't be getting in our head about it. This is the choice that we want. Like, that's what it was for me. I feel like I do teeter between those moments where I'm like, oh, should I be going out more? And then this is everything we just talked about is what I have to remind myself constantly to not get in my own head and to stick on my own path.
Exactly. And remind myself that the journey gets lonely when you move differently, because that's pretty empowering in itself. Like, to know that and to be okay with that. So just focusing on that.
It's funny because with all of that being said, it's like, I feel good in what we're saying right now, recording, and good in my decision that like, no, I don't like going out. I'm going to stick to my guns. Not even just that, but I'm not second guessing my decision. But then it comes to these weekends where I'm like, oh, I should be going out this weekend though. And I don't know when there is a time to push myself, I guess, because sometimes I think a little push is good. Like, it may not be fully aligned with me, but then if I'm not going to drink, then maybe I should still be going out and having fun on the weekends. Like, I don't need to drink to have fun, but I guess it says something about like, I don't know, I always struggle with that. Like, people are like, you don't need to drink to have fun, but then I'm not with the right crowd, because if I can't have fun and I need alcohol, then I'm literally not with the right crowd. So like, why would I even go out at that point? But I don't know, I'm just in that battle of, I say all this in the episode and I feel great about all of that, but when the weekends come down to it and the pressure that I place on myself is there, I'm like, shit, maybe I should have pushed myself to go out and have more fun this week, because maybe if I did have a few drinks, even though it would have been surface level conversations, like, it could be a great memory that I will remember for the rest of my life, because I'm not going to have many more of those memories. And that's where I get stuck up, like caught up, is that when I'm out of this environment and there is no outside force pressuring me, not pressuring me, but like placing even the idea of going out in my head, am I ever going to have any of these moments again? And it's like, maybe not. So like, should I be having them now? You know what I mean? Like, should I be having them now and creating those memories? Because part of me does want those memories, but then I always come back. I just always come back to
yeah, like it can keep coming back to everything that we said today. And, you know, that's why it's like you said, it's always kind of a constant, not a constant battle, but I just think like we're super outgoing, fun people. And then we're also introverts and serious people at the same time. So kind of balancing our two different personalities, like our two different wants too. Like, sometimes everything that we just said does not align with like what I want to do on the weekend.
Yeah.
Like there's sometimes when I'll like say to Tyler, like, I'm craving a giant margarita from like a classic Mexican place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like one of those jumbo marks.
Yeah.
And it's like that doesn't really align with anything that I've talked about over the past couple weeks on this podcast, but doesn't mean I still don't want it. You know what and it's like being okay with wherever you are right now, being okay with whatever choice you make, and kind of just going with like the choice that serves you in that moment.
Yeah.
Like if going out this weekend is what is going to serve you because it's what you truly want to do and you just want to like let loose and have fun, it's like just be okay with that. Don't harp on it. Don't harp on the decision. Make it and move on and let yourself be, because I think we are our own worst enemies. And like we said, talked about that last episode, in so many different areas we beat ourselves up and literally cause more anxiety, more stress in our own bodies based on our decisions. We truly do it to ourselves more than society's doing. Like we're putting more pressure on ourselves to go out and drink and have fun than society is. Like no one's texting me like, you're a loser, you don't have fun. I'm doing it to myself. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you're right.
It's really just being okay and respecting yourself no matter what the decision is, because I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna have fun still, but I'm gonna pick and choose those moments, and I just can't beat myself up in those moments.
That's what it comes down to. I think it's just being flexible and okay with whatever decision you go with, because I'm recognizing that in moments I do drink, I'm like, oh, like this isn't like the type of person I am. And I kind of go hard on myself in the other direction where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this to my body? Why am I doing this to my mind? Like, why did I do this? And it's like, well, clearly you wanted to have a drink last night as well. Like, it's all right. But I get so caught up in the beating myself up. And I think it really comes down to like being okay. Oh, you want to have a drink tonight? Sure, have a drink. You don't want to have a drink? Okay, you don't need to have a drink. Like, that's literally what it comes down to.
I
For
know.
even just, not even just drinking, like going out in general.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, of course, like I love a night in.
Me too. It's so annoying when I'll be like, oh yeah, I just like when I'm with Tyler and we wanted to go get that marg. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then I'll be like in the middle of drinking and I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm like, you couldn't have just kept that voice at bay for like 1 hour.
Right.
Like,
it's like,
come on, like just shut up for a moment. Like, and then I started thinking about, what am I doing? What is this alcohol doing to my body? What was the point of this? If you're going to have one drink, why not just don't have any? Like, what's the point of one? You know?
That's what happens to me is I'm like, all right, like why even have one if I'm not going to get one?
I'm like, because you don't need to have 10 drinks to make alcohol worth it. You're going to have a hangover and you're going to feel like crap. So there's no point in drinking more than what you want to drink. Like, you know,
I know. It just shows you how much as humans we get in our head and like forget the full picture, and we forget to take a step back and like really see the entire perspective. We always zone in on like one thing in the moment and create our own problems. It's like, just take a step back, look at everything. You made this decision, you wanted to. Okay, I'm fine. Like, but you know, that's a part of life.
Exactly. I'm just finding this balance. So all over the place episode went down a couple different routes, but just as always, kind of bringing to light anything that we are maybe feeling. I feel like maybe because it's getting warmer out, summer's coming up, like these thoughts were kind of stirring up in my mind a little bit more. Wintertime's easy to hibernate. It's easy to be like an indoor person. So bringing that to light, and know that if anyone's listening and can relate, like you are not alone. And just because we are firm on some things doesn't mean we don't struggle with it as well. And I think we've made that clear. So just wanted to share that with you all, and hope you enjoyed listening to today's episode. And no matter what you decide to do in life this weekend, every single day, no matter what, just give yourself grace, give yourself the peace. Don't let anyone remove that or any thoughts remove that. Just kind of enjoy the moment that you're in each and every day, and just let your life go from there. Let it take you wherever it needs to take you.
Yes.
I was like rambling on that finish. I'm like, I don't know what to say here. So Isabel, why don't you please tell them what to do?
I'll tell you what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, follow, interact with us, please. Share this podcast to a friend, share it to someone who relates or just needs to hear this message or just wants to hear the voice of no sugar on this fine Tuesday or whenever you're listening.
Yes.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. We are trying to grow and we want you to grow. So please help us grow and achieve our dreams.
Amen to that.
The pressure's on you.
Don't let anyone else put pressure on you, but in this situation, we're going to pressure you. Anyway, thank you guys so much for all of your love and all of your support and continuing to listen to us each and every week. We appreciate you guys more than you will ever know. And we hope you have an amazing rest of your day, an amazing rest of your week, and we will see you next time.